In today's video, I will be explaining 5 backrooms levels that are safe. That's right, I said safe, with almost no danger inside of them at all. These are the areas in the backrooms that you can actually explore and get lost in, and you're not gonna have to worry about being consumed alive by a random creature or the effects of that level. These are huge expanses of liminal spaces and peace, and I really think you're gonna enjoy these. If that sounds cool, please leave a like on the video, and without more blabbing, let's go ahead and hop into it and explore some relaxing, safe backrooms levels, shall we? So level -33 has a classification of class 0, and it's safe, secure, and just look how chill it is, dude. I mean, I would literally just bring me and my friends here to stay forever. The level is very unique because it's an extremely safe negative level, and most negative levels are corrupted and dangerous because of how unstable or deep they are in the backrooms. But not this one. It's like an oasis. It's split up into 4 different parts, and those parts are the pools, the darkness, the hallways, the outside, and then the ocean area. The entire level is infinite, but for ease of explaining, those are the 4 parts that I'm going to split it up into. The main part of the level is considered to be a massive hotel complex with a ton of hotel rooms inside. I mean, this thing is literally infinite, and there's multiple hotels too. The entire place has an eerie familiarness to it. Like, you feel comfortable, but you've never been there. It's that type of thing. And these hotels have a slight chlorine smell to them and a sort of salty sea air scent too. And that's because scattered throughout the hotels and the rooms, there are large pools everywhere. These pools mostly have lights at the bottom of them that give a sort of liminal type of glow to them, and the light above the pools give off this really relaxing and secure feeling. Pretty much it's just a giant hotel with pools everywhere. The water inside of the actual pools is, of course, lukewarm, which is where the name of the level comes from. A lot of the pools themselves are inside of the bigger hotel rooms, but some can be in the hallways and on the roof and in small rooms. It just depends. And the pools can be as big as the room, or just a small corner of it. It just depends on where you go. The pools all have tiled surfaces, similar to the ones that you'd find in the pool rooms, except these tiles have some very different properties. They seem to absorb water very quickly, even if they get soaking wet. So if you're in a pool and you like splash water out of it onto the tiles outside, the tiles would literally just soak up the water and it would get completely dry, which is pretty neat. Now, besides those pools inside of the rooms, there will also be beds and bookshelves and chairs and sofas and paintings and pretty much anything else that you'd find in like a resort hotel. These rooms have a very familiar and safe feeling to them, which adds that liminal space and eerie vibe of the entire level. You feel comfortable here, in a way. Some pools inside of the rooms or hallways don't have any lighting, or much lighting at all, and these are the areas that are called the darkness. They give off feelings of uneasiness and paranoia, and you just feel wrong for standing in these dark areas. It's almost like something is right behind you about to grab you, kind of like that level in Apeirophobia. The water in these areas is calm, and you'll just hear dripping sounds and rippling sounds, but you still get that feeling of something just waiting in the darkness to try to eat you. You can't shake the feeling. The temperature of these dark areas is also colder than the rest of the level. The rest of the level is a lukewarm temperature, but here it gets really cold and the water can be frigid. In both the regular pools and the dark pools, the water also can be varying lengths and depths. It can go from really shallow to really deep to just straight up infinite, and the deeper the pools are, the more unsafe that you'll typically feel getting into them. Since you can't see the bottom, it would be terrifying. Like, imagine getting into a pretty small pool lengthwise, but then seeing that there's literally no bottom to it, like it just goes down forever. That would be terrifying. The hallways are another big part of the level, and they're endless in length, just like the hotels. They're typically empty, with really strange lighting, and they feel very lonely and very liminal, like you're not supposed to stay there for a long time. It's just a passing through area, but you feel like you're stuck there. They twist and they turn randomly too, and they give off feelings of isolation and loneliness. It's also easy to get lost in the hallways because they turn so much, which that's no fun. They just look like big empty hotel hallways. Simple as that. In some rare areas of the halls, you might find a few sofas or vending machines or doors that lead to the next part of the level, which is called the outside. So the outside is just this unsettling looking, empty outdoor pool area with very few streetlights that give it this very eerie loneliness, just like the rest of the level. Now, besides all these feelings of eeriness and loneliness, you're still safe. It just feels that way. It just feels dangerous, but it's not. There are bushes and trees here too that seem out of place, and there's paths that cut from the outdoor areas to other resorts and other buildings. The path area has the same curvy, windy feeling as the hallways do, and like I said, they can lead to other nearby pools and buildings and resorts as well. And the other buildings that are here, besides the main hotel, are other smaller resorts and other stores and other storage buildings and other pool areas. The stores themselves are small, but they look like typical supermarkets, except tiny. They all look very liminal, and they all have food on the shelves and water in the refrigerators. The other resorts are empty and have pools, just like the main resort you spawn in. And the storage places look like those self-storage ones from real life, with all the doors and stuff. All of this entire area is very lonely and comforting at the same time, and it just feels like you're in this one massive liminal space. It's so quiet and so empty, and nothing's there except you and whoever else you bring. Now, beyond the outside area and outside those paths and other buildings is the last area of the level, which is the Endless Sea. The Endless Sea is just an infinite expanse of lukewarm ocean water that has varying depths. There are some buildings that are on the edge of this ocean that overlook it, and there's also a beach area that goes along the coast. Just like the rest of the areas, this area is peaceful but lonely, and kind of creepy but also relaxing. And it also goes out in an infinite direction, just like the rest of the level. I know I've said that about a billion times, my bad. But it just feels like these beaches are a place to sit down and just think about everything. Think life's deepest thoughts. The water is lukewarm, and like I said, it has varying depths, and I mean, you can swim in it. There's been no animals found yet, so it's just an empty ocean. Now, back in those hotel areas and those resort areas, there are places like these small liminal pools, and these zones typically tend to make people have a complete sense of comfort and hominess and safety, so they never leave. Plus, being inside of the hotel building might make you feel more comfortable than being in the other places in the backrooms. But most people that get sent here have traveled for years through all of the backrooms levels, and when they get here, they feel like they can finally rest, and that's why this level's beautiful. In order to get to this heavenly backrooms level, you're going to need to find a set of sliding glass doors on level -18, and to exit, you can no-clip into a wall to be sent to the pool rooms level, but I think that I like this level better. Let me tell you why. I feel like you're trapped in the pool rooms. I feel like you're kind of just in this one huge complex, and it's beautiful, and it's serene, and it's comforting, but this area is just like a massive, infinite row of resorts and stores that's completely empty to everybody except you. Everything's full of pools and liminal spaces, and everything is so empty and relaxing. I just feel like it's more open and expansive than the pool rooms. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. So when you make the accidental fall into the backrooms, you will obviously end up on backrooms level 0, the famous yellow wallpapered level. Now, there is a very small chance that you might get sent to level 1 or to level 2 or even 3 if you're unlucky, but the odds are you're going to be falling into level 0. It just seems that the connection from the front rooms to level 0 is the strongest. Now, that was the fact until a few months ago when level 913 was discovered. This level has been given a class undetermined difficulty due to its really mysterious nature and the lack of information we have on it. To be honest, only a few people have even been here, as well as the possibility of undocumented entities that are lurking around, and I'll touch on that later. The size of this level is impossible to determine due to its non-linear geometry, as no ending has ever been found, which is a pretty common thing through the backrooms, nothing crazy. The level's nickname is actually the Endless White, and that's because, for as far as the eye can see, it's just white rooms and halls and staircases. When you no-clip into this white abyss, you'll find yourself laying on your back, staring up at the ceiling. You'll hear a faint hum buzz from around the lights, and you'll hear this flickering, staticky noise. If you put your ear to the ground somewhere on this level, you'll actually hear that flickering noise through the ground. It sounds like it's coming from an old TV, but it's coming from underneath you. Standing up and scanning your surroundings, you'll see just how barren and empty the level actually is. It's a white hell. It's dull whiteness as far as the eyes can see. Now, wanderers who have actually been here say they hear their own echoes reverberating through the hallways, even if they barely make noise. You can just whisper or barely drag your feet, and you're going to hear it echoing and being distorted off the walls. Other noises can sometimes be heard too when you get deeper into this level, like strange laughing and giggling and creatures scurrying between rooms. And I'll get into all that later. Your ears are not playing tricks on you. Like, something's actually there. We just don't know what it is, so I can't tell you. The walls and pretty much all of the level is this glossy, dull white color, which could probably cause you to lose your mind since there's no other colorations around. The level also has several different explorable areas, those being the hallways, the bedrooms, the living rooms, and the open, huge rooms. Inside of these different areas is furniture that corresponds with it. Like, living rooms will have couches and tables, and bedrooms will have beds, obviously. You get the point. All of the stuff everywhere is white. If you run into a window or an open door in the level, you might notice that behind it is a pitch black void. It's literally just blackness and random specks of light. Now, you might think that the level takes place inside of the void level because of that, but I think you'd be wrong. I think that's not the case. Because some wanderers have reported looking out into that void and seeing some kind of strange blue-white light in the distance, and the light actually copies the movement of anyone that's looking out at it. So if you shake your head, it'll shake back and forth. The light will gradually get brighter and brighter over time, and the longer you stare at it, the brighter it'll get. If you stare at it for a really long time, the ball will become a dark red color, and then it'll vanish, and then appear randomly in a different window, almost like it's stalking you. We have no idea what this is, why it happens, or what it even could be, but it gives everyone who encounters it this really unnerving feeling, like you're being spied on somehow. You pretty much are, I guess, but... Now, in the larger rooms of this level, you'll find white concrete pillars arranged in straight lines as far as the eye can see. Walking in between these pillars can cause a weird effect to happen that I've never really heard of, but it's pretty cool. If you close your eyes or blink for longer than a couple seconds while walking in between the pillars, when you open your eyes, you'll be in a different position off in the distance. So think of an Enderman from Minecraft teleporting around. That's pretty much what you're doing in this level. It's pretty neat. And sometimes you can do this and you no-clip out of the level as well, which can be pretty useful. If you look up to the ceiling again, you'll hear that buzzing noise again. And at the beginning I said it was from the actual lights, but it's not actually from the lights. No, it's something a little bit worse. Of course it's worse. It's always worse. The buzz is from these black bugs that are flying up toward the light and trying to get to it. There's literally hundreds of thousands of these bugs around these lights, and they're buzzing and flapping and bumping into them. They do this until the heat from the lights literally fries them, and they just drop on the floor by you. The noise of the bugs brings this very unsettling ambience to the level. I mean, you thought it was the hum buzz of the lights. It's actually bugs unaliving themselves. Pretty weird. If you're walking down these white hallways and you run into a random wooden door in the wall, you open it up, you might be able to see a place that you've been to in this level before, like an exact copy of maybe where you started or where you were. You can walk in the room and then you'll be right back where that was, and effects like this are the ones that make people extremely disoriented, and honestly they induce paranoia in a lot of people who come here. It's really trippy to open a door and see a place you just were. And that's where the non-linear geometry really just messes with your mind. Unless you're me, it wouldn't do it with me. But if you couple that weird effect with the white coloring, the buzzing of the bugs, the random light outside shining on you, and also the weird distorted noises, you're gonna go pretty crazy. And speaking of those noises, the longer you walk through the hallways here, the stranger the noises get. Now, I mentioned earlier, those noises could be like giggling or scurrying or laughing or something like that. But eventually you'll get so deep that you'll start to hear these noises behind doors in this level. And these doors are like really scary to people because they don't want to open them and see what's back there. The level essentially drives you insane because of just how isolating and just weird it is. It's said that some people have walked so deep into this level and found a door that's like blocked off and shut, and that's where they've heard these weird distorted noises from behind it. Right as they heard these noises, the lights above them in the ceiling went completely off. They just shut off, went completely black, and the light outside that washes you through the windows will get really bright. Then poof, the person that just witnessed that is gone. Now, the outcome of these weird anomalies is unknown. We have no idea where the person goes. We have no idea what's making the noise. We have no idea what the weird light is, but all we know is it's just strange, man. Now, the entrance to the level is where the things start to get weirder somehow, because wanderers, like I said, can enter from the front rooms by just walking into any room and opening a door to get there. The way this works is that every person on this planet has a small chance to open a door, and everything in that room will be completely white. If they make the step into that room, they will be sent to this level where they'll wake up on the floor staring at the ceiling. Now, this is pretty horrifying because it could happen to anybody completely randomly. There's no way to calculate it or why it happens, but you could just be going to school. You could open up your bathroom door and step inside without realizing it, and bam, you're 913 levels deep in the back rooms. Pretty horrifying to me. But there's no reasoning or explanation for it, and there's no way that we can tell why it's connected to reality. Some people think it's some sort of middle ground between the Earth and the backrooms, or it's like a purgatory area that people go to that slip out of the cracks of reality. We don't know. But if you do want to escape this level, then you need to close your eyes, like I said earlier, and walk between those pillars, and that'll give you a chance to no-clip out. The only problem is, we have no idea where it's gonna take you if you leave. But yeah, let me know if you enjoyed this level. I think it's so cool that there's a level like this that is connected to reality that's not level 0. I mean, that's pretty neat. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Level 525252, repeating of the backrooms, aka the recursion, has been given a class 0 difficulty. The main difficulty and the only difficulty in the level is just how hard it is to exit, and it's really not that hard. But nevertheless, the levels page begins with a warning notice that says, "Caution, you are in a recursive area." And if you're like me and you didn't know what recursive meant, it simply means something that repeats over and over and over until the goal or the object of that thing is achieved. In mathematics, this relates to the repeated use of a rule or a procedure, and in computing, that relates to the programs that might require many successive actions to happen. If none of that makes sense, and in simple terms, this level repeats itself over and over and over, forever. And now, you have found yourself inside of it, so here is what you might see. Yet another warning exists beneath the last one that I just read to you, and this one says, "Do not lose sight of the exit." And that's gonna be a phrase that you want to keep in your head while you're in this level. When you first get sent to this place, you will immediately notice what your surroundings look like. In front of you will be a small square-shaped room with another entrance behind it on that back wall that leads to another small square room that looks identical to the one you're in. And past that next room is a doorway that leads to the exact same room, and then so on and so forth. Each of these rooms has a large window on the right wall that shines a dim light inside of it. There's also a ceiling light above, which is the main source of light here in the level. On each of the walls, there are a couple of different electrical outlets, with nothing plugged into them, might I add, and just kind of there. And tucked away on the left side of each room is some sort of chair that you can sit in. But the most unique thing that you probably have already seen and are asking yourself what it is the signs that are on the right side of each of these rooms. These signs are the warning that I read to you at the beginning of this video. Caution, you're in a recursive area, do not lose sight of the exit. Since this level is entirely recursive, this means that any action taken in one of the rooms is going to also occur in the next room, and the next room, and the next room, and so on, infinitely and infinitely on. For example, if you go to the window here and you grab the blinds and you start shaking them around, every single room past yours will also have their blinds shaking around. It's like a giant mirror maze, except there's no mirrors, and it's just an infinite repeating section of rooms. Another oddity that this level possesses is that the ceiling lights above you will slowly get get dimmer and dimmer the further you walk or run down this hallway. So it might be bright when you're right under it, but if you run a few miles and you look back, it'll be dark. The recursion is devoid of any resources or any supplies or anything for that matter. There's nothing here. And you also can't even run into other wanderers here either. There's no creatures, there's no entities, there's no hidden danger. There's nothing except these small repeating rooms and the signs forever and ever and ever. Like I said earlier though, each of these repeating rooms has a window on it that has these blinds. If you peel back those blinds and you look outside, you won't be able to see anything except just a white void. Now this white light doesn't really illuminate much inside of the actual rooms here, but you need to keep this window thing and this void in your mind because it'll be useful in the exit section. This level entirely and truthfully serves no purpose. There is no main objective to complete here. You're not trying to outrun some creature. You're not trying to survive. You're just walking infinitely through repeated rooms for mathematic infinity. Instead, this place is usually used by wanderers as some sort of pit stop or like a rest area on your journey throughout the backrooms. You can sit down in these places, you can relax in the chairs that are here, and you won't have to worry about entities or weird effects or anything of that nature. The level's quiet too, so you could go pretty good and get some nice sleep here for once. I'm sure it's really hard to sleep in the backrooms, but you could do it here safely. But all of that safety stuff aside, you still need to listen to the warning that's all over the level and that I've told you a million times in this video. Do not lose sight of the exit. That might sound basic at first, how could you lose sight when the doorway is right in front of you? But if you don't acknowledge where that exit is, the recursion could break and corrupt, and therefore the sequence of rooms would be ended, and you might find yourself running into a dead end with no escape. This, of course, could cause people to get lost in the recursion forever, and that's not where you want to be. I don't think so. But other than that, this level's chill. To enter said level, you can do so by accidentally no-clipping and ending up here. You can't do it on purpose, sorry, but that's pretty hard to do usually, so the more consistent way of doing it is by falling asleep inside of any chair of any type on any level. This could be a recliner, this could be a gaming chair, this could be a folding chair. You just gotta fall fully asleep in it, and you have the option of being sent here. And you might want to come here because it's pretty just a chill place if you want to take a little respite from your adventures through the backrooms without having to worry about getting consumed or eaten. The only way to leave these infinitely repeating rooms of the recursion is to go to one of the windows, open up the blinds, open up the window, and climb out into the white void beyond. This white void is nondescript, it's not a level itself, but you just gotta jump out into it, and it'll send you to any level in the backrooms. Good or bad. You don't really get to choose, and it chooses for you, so you can do this at your own risk. But the recursion level 5252522 and so on is truly an outlier in the Backrooms canon. It's safe, but it's not. It's easy, but it's not. It's there, but is it? And just like that, my mind is officially broken. Nice. I do think this is one of the most unique concepts for a Backrooms level that I have ever come across. Many of the Backrooms levels talk about being infinite or being ever-generating and never running out of real estate, but this place is simply just like an 8x8 room that repeats itself over and over and over, and if you look away from the exits or if you don't see where the exit is in front of you, it could break all of the recursion and thus corrupt the hallway that you're in, leaving you stranded. So just like the warning at the beginning of the level says, do not look away from the exit. Leave a like down below if you think you could survive the recursion. If you would just come here and chill for a little bit, explore these little tiny rooms, maybe sleep on a couch or something like that, do whatever you want to. Even though, like always, when I say this literally every single time, I know you're lying. I know one of you would probably think you're funny just to look away from the exit, and then you would literally just like get turned into pixels and die. That's probably all you guys, to be fair. Level 974 has been given a Class 0 difficulty rating and is safe, secure, and devoid of any harmful creatures. It looks to be a moderately sized house area with a notably pink theme in its decorations and designs. Throughout the house, you will notice that there aren't many doors at all, and specifically there are no doors leading to the outside area. The only way you can see beyond the walls is through the windows that can show what's out there. As for what the windows actually are, they seem to just look out to artwork that depicts whatever an outside area would look like. For example, it could be an artwork of the sky, or of the field, or of water, or anything like that. As far as we know, there is no actual exterior. These are just fake paintings. An important note is that these paintings, along with all the other decorations and everything else in this level, has a noticeable pastel, whimsical, childlike theme and design. The house itself is slightly different for everybody who comes here at every point in time. There are subtle variations in layout and designs that can be noticed if you come multiple times. These variations could be simple things like extra cooking utensils like a spatula or something, or the pictures on the walls could be in a different place, or the plushes on the ground could be in a different place, and other small details that really don't matter. Essentially, everything is different anytime you come here, but only slightly. The level can be explored by multiple wanderers at once, although this situation is rare. If you want to go to explore Kitty's house with your friends, the way to do that is by holding some sort of cute item. This could be a plush, a pillow, a painting, a picture, anything that you could perceive as cute, and you might have an option of being sent here. If you want to come here with your friends, you have to all be holding a piece of that cute thing, and then you all have the chance to be sent here. Usually though, there are multiple people exploring the level, they're just in different iterations of it, all of which look slightly different. While you explore Kitty's house, most wanderers will experience memories from their childhood. They'll often get feelings of nostalgia and longing for the simple times. In fact, exploring this level at all leaves most people feeling like they're in some sort of fever dream, some sort of nostalgia trip. All these memories and your childhood experiences will be on your mind. You'll feel safe and like you can rest here. Due to the relatively small size of the level, it just being inside of a house, there are only a few rooms that can be explored. And the layout is as follows. I've gone ahead and constructed this house design plan thing so you could get an easy understanding. There's a master bedroom, a guest bedroom, 2 bathrooms, a living room, and a kitchen, and a dining room area. There are only a few rooms in the house that are fully furnished with decorations and other furnitures, those being the living and dining room, as well as the guest bedroom. The rest of these rooms are plain with minimal decorations and minimal things of note. Plumbing and other electrical functions are completely normal inside of level 974. And on top of that, there's actually a strong Wi-Fi connection here as well, so you can get on the internet and do whatever you want. It's recommended that you take advantage of this when coming here because you're at level 974 and there's not much besides death past this level. All of the amenities in this level have been proved to be safe. There's no dangerous monster on the Wi-Fi, there's no bad effects to drinking the water, none of that stuff is bad. The wall colors inside of this house are the distinctive Baker Miller pink color, and the decorations that you might see in the level are usually filled with childhood mascot brands like Mario, My Little Pony, Hello Kitty, Ben 10, things of this nature. It's like you traveled back in time to 2010 or something, and you were inside your own bedroom. That's how the entire level feels, and oftentimes it changes its layout to better suit you and your memories. In the kitchen of Kitty's house, many consumable items can be found. Things like greasy marshmallows and other snacks are there as well, and in the fridge you might find water and drinks, as well as the pantry, playing home to more snacks. The food is always in good condition and isn't spoiled or anything, and it's been proven to be safe to consume as it never expires. If you take a bag of chips from the pantry, if you take a drink from the refrigerator, it will eventually replace itself via an unknown means, which technically means you could stay here forever, but I'll talk about that later. The longer a person stays inside this house, the lesser that the nutrition in that food I just mentioned will be, because eventually everything will become nothing but sugary, sweet things. This is a unique attribute only found in this level from what I can understand, and it really only happens if you stay for like months at a time. The food will become so not nutritious that it'll just be like sugar and syrup, which again plays into the childhood themes of the level. While inside the kitchen area specifically in this house, a wanderer might smell things that resemble meals being cooked from their childhood. Usually these are just olfactory hallucinations from your nose making stuff up, but on rare occasions, after smelling a childhood meal, people have claimed to see the food appear on a countertop right by them. These are rare though, and it might not always happen. It is unknown how the level knows how to do that or who is cooking the food. So like for me personally, a really nostalgic meal would be the brownie smell being baked in the summertime. That's what I experienced as a kid, and if I came to this level and that happened, I probably wouldn't leave. The kitchen's decor is in the same style as the rest of the level as well, and it is one of the other few furnished rooms. The cabinets are stocked, the decorations are there. It looks like a kitchen that a kid would create. The other real room of note is the regular bedroom, not the master bedroom, the regular one. Inside of this place, there is a small twin-sized bed and a ton of decorations and other things on the walls and floors. Stacks of plushies can also be seen here as well, and the dresser can be stocked with clothes that kind of resemble something you would wear, maybe from your childhood. Everything here is cute, or what could be considered to be cute. Inside this guest room, across from the bed, is another one of the main points of the level. There lies a desk with an old computer sitting on top of it. Now at first, this might not seem like much, because the computer looks just normal, but indeed it is very enigmatic in its own right. It's one of those dinosaur computers, one of the really fat ones that looks like it has Windows 95 on it, and there's also an old keyboard and mouse there as well. If you turn on the computer and go to the login screen, you will see two profiles that you can choose from. That's the owner and the guest. The password to the owner profile is not known to this day. We cannot crack the code, so the profile you have to use if you want to get on it has to be the guest. Once you click the guest profile, you'll be sent to the desktop of the PC, where there are several programs that you might be able to use. But 3 of them are very important. Those are the Internet, Mail, and the Dream Sleep program. Now, using the Mail program, you can actually directly chat and talk to people who are in other versions of the Kitty's House level. Remember how I said at the beginning that it's rare that people come to your own version together, and usually everybody gets sent out to their own version, their slightly different version. But with this PC, you can talk to all those people via the mail, like a big old chat room or something. Pretty neat. The email app also will automatically send each user that opens it a notification with a message that has information on the entity that resides in the level. It's like it's sending you an update, kinda, and the email talks about Kitty, the entity, like this. Greetings, Wanderer. This is an automated message I have coded that you will receive upon the boot up of any technological device capable of running the internet in this level. I understand you may be confused or even distressed upon finding yourself in an unfamiliar level, but do not fret, for you are currently in level 974, or Kitty's House, as it's often referred to. I have graciously compiled a list of questions that you may have below. I ask that you read them before going any further. How did I get here? At some point during your endless wandering, you came across something cute, and as a result, you woke up here after taking it with you. What makes something cute is subjective though, isn't it? Well, here it doesn't matter. What matters is Kitty finds it cute, and now whatever you found belongs to it. Who is Kitty, you might ask? Do not worry, I will gladly tell you. Who is Kitty? Do not panic. Kitty may be an entity, but it is no ordinary entity. Instead of devouring or killing you, it simply wishes to observe you and to take the offering you inadvertently brought to it. Kitty is that shadow that stalks you through the halls. Kitty is that dark presence just within your view that watches you while you sleep, and is your new friend that welcomes you to stay as long as you'd like. Be sure to remember that you are its guest, and you must treat your generous host with the utmost respect. But do not disrespect Kitty or its home, clean up after yourself, and try not to scream too loudly when it sneaks up behind you. What does Kitty do? Aside from watching you and somehow restocking the fridge and pantries, it is currently unknown what Kitty does or is capable of doing. How do I leave? Long-term stay is ill-advised due to the lack of any real food available here. Over time, sanity starts to deplete, and the food all starts to turn into sugary food that cannot be sustained off of. As mentioned before, you must give Kitty the cute item you brought with you if you plan on leaving. Just hold it out and call for it. Here, Kitty, 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 and it will take your offering. The next time you fall asleep, you will find yourself somewhere just as safe. So yeah, that email pretty much explains everything. I don't know what I'm doing here. That did it all for me. Anyways, the internet program is the third program of use on this PC. It's pretty similar to the regular internet from our reality, but most of the searches here when you look up stuff are redacted or not available. And if it comes up with answers, they're usually very vague and they don't really help. And finally, the Dream Sleep app is the most enigmatic feature of this computer because it displays kind of a loading screen with a bright and vibrant screen itself once you click on it. Once this loading screen is done, the screen will then show a message that says, quote, "Your dreams are ready, sleep to start." After you see this message, you can crawl over in the bed next to you and then go to sleep, and you will wake up in the sublevel 974.1. This is the only way to enter the sublevel by doing those steps I just described. I'll explain the sublevel in another video. This one might be getting too long, but that's how you do it. You also need to note that you can sleep in this bed, or any bed here, before opening that app, and it said that the bed will increase melatonin production in your body and thus lead to an extremely deep and thorough sleep. So essentially, this level is very safe to be on, just you can't stay forever because the food will stop being healthy eventually. Of course, like I said, the only entity here is Kitty, who I just described in that email thing, but you all know and love this creature. It's been described many times, but if you're new here or if you don't know, it is a 3.2 meter tall humanoid creature with lanky body parts. The skin of the entity is a matte black and almost has a fabric texture. It has no face or anything of note. It is just a giant, skinny humanoid. Kitty seems to enjoy just watching things from a distance. When it moves, it does so quickly and smoothly, and it almost kind of scares people. But like that email said, don't scream too loud or you might get kicked out. As of right now, the entity has not been hostile in any way, although if you're aggressive or whatever, you might have to leave. Or might force you to leave. In order to enter the level, you have to do exactly what the email said, and you have to find something that is considered cute by the entity, who will automatically bring you here. And then to leave, you have to give the entity that thing that you had in order to get your ticket out. But that's pretty much it for this level. It is a small house, a safe place to be, with an entity that you all know and love, and some other strange and enigmatic features that can keep you here longer, but not for too long. This is the new and updated version of the level, and personally, I think it's a banger. You know, I think it's great. I think it kind of has the 2021 Backrooms vibe that I miss, but it's also expanded in more ways than it used to be. It was kind of short back in the day. Now there's enough lore and stuff to where it's really unique. I think they did a fantastic job. This is probably what I consider to be the perfect rewrite. The levels page begins with a captain's journal, which I'm going to go ahead and read through just so you get the vibe that the level's trying to send. Captain's journal. Friday, August 21st. Weather fine and clear. Wind east-southeast. Steady breeze, sea smooth. Midnight, less wind and passing showers. At 1 a.m., light squalls with rain, ending with a steady breeze and fine clear weather. I went out to sea one day with every member of my crew. We hadn't earned enough money from fishing, and the season was coming to an end. The fog grew thicker, and the boat in the sea was as still as the night sky. The visibility continued to deteriorate. There was no hint that such a situation would arise when I checked the weather forecast. The stunning view of the Bermuda Isles was swiftly lost. Still, we had to continue sailing in hopes of catching something by the end of the day. At one point, something strange caught my attention. The fog cleared, but there was nothing in the area. The ocean stretched out in every direction, and that was all we could see. We were alone. We shouldn't have gone that far. We simply weren't able to call for help. I made the regrettable decision that we would somehow turn back, since we were sailing straight, and we decided to do a complete 180 turn in hopes of getting back that way. One of the sailors noticed that every compass was shattered, inexplicably. They couldn't pinpoint north accurately since their needles were spinning in circles. A part of us believed that this was the end, and we lost all faith. We had probably been reported missing by family members. We drifted toward the inevitable madness on the boundless sea. The water was unfit for human consumption, and rations were becoming limited. We struggled to sleep, and the time of day remained constant. One of the sailors called the whole crew at one point after spotting a large white cloud resembling a waterspout rising from the dreary fog. The ship continued to move ahead despite our attempts to halt it. We had no idea what it was. We began to feel a powerful wind dragging us toward the cloud, and suddenly everything went white, and all I could see was that I was falling to the ground. It felt like I was dying. I felt terrible because I was unable to apologize to anyone I had previously harmed. The fog eventually changed color, and I once again saw my ship floating there with my crew. We were safe. The sea looked beautiful, and I could see how strange everything was. The houses on stilts all around us. I still question whether this impaled ocean was all just a dream. So that was the captain's journal, his journey from the Bermuda Triangle in real life to this sublevel in the Backrooms. So somewhere in the never-ending vastness of level 7 lies this place, level 7.8. It's known by a ton of different names, the Impaled Ocean, the Sea of a Million Houses, things like that, but we know it as level 7.8. The sublevel is a vast expanse of locations and objects and creatures and other phenomenon as well, and it's made up of this. It is an extensive body of salt water dotted with the structures that the area is known for. Houses on stilts. The water in the area is extremely still and has almost no waves at all. It's just table flat. Below the flat water is the teeming life that you would expect from the ocean floor. There's rocks, there's corals, there's algae, there's various metals, and there's fish and that sort of thing. The sea at the base level is about 20 meters deep, and most of the floor is flat or slightly hilly. Dotted along the seafloor is specific spots that go down very far that appear to be cavernous holes. These giant holes go downwards for thousands of meters into the ground, and they're home to all strange fish and sea creatures. These are largely unexplored, and they all have their own secrets. The way you can travel around this level with these houses on stilts is by using a boat or by swimming, although there does seem to be an excess number of boats that have been abandoned that are kind of just floating around the perimeter here, so you could just take one. But the main attraction of this level isn't the water, it is those houses that are in the water. The houses themselves are all different sizes, and they suspend above the water on wooden stilts. They can be made from metal or wood or concrete or really any material, and most of the houses are kind of inside their own villages. Villages in this level typically consist of about 10 different home structures that are clustered together. These homes can all be explored, lived in, and you can stay there if you want to. There are 3 specific locations inside of this sublevel that you need to be aware of while you're exploring it: the stilt villages, Deep Eyes, and the Grand Colony. Now, the stilt villages are dispersed around the area like I just explained. They're random pods of these stilt houses put together. They provide shelter and housing for many people who come here and many people that decide to stay. They're sort of like a safe haven. Some stilt houses even have supplies like rations and water and food, and if you get lucky, there can be an abundance of this. The clusters of houses are usually connected by small bridges and sets of ladders, and they're always typically put near the giant holes underneath the water. And this is because a lot of fish swim around those holes, and the people here usually fish for their food. The Deep Eyes themselves are the secondary location that you need to be aware of, and these are just those massive dark holes deep into the unknown. They're home to various fish and coral species, and they're a very common food source for wanderers that live in the stilt houses. The Grand Colony is the nickname of the so-called hub of the level, and it's essentially just this massive village of stilt houses. This is where the majority of people live and trade and go to the market here, and you can come here and trade your belongings for other things. It's like the capital of the level. As far as life inside of the sea and in the sublevel in general, there are several different types. Seagulls exist, and these are pretty much exactly like seagulls from real life, which means they're annoying and they try to steal your food. And there's also fish and there's corals, but the main unique entity that you're gonna have to look out for are known as sea walkers. Now, sea walkers are very distinct creatures. They are tall, 4-legged giants that constantly and slowly roam around the endless sea. They typically can be anywhere from 40 to 70 meters tall, and they have a kind of crab-like appearance. Oftentimes they can be seen stretching out of the water on the horizon line. But the main unique thing about these creatures is that they use the stilt houses as the shell of their bodies. So you know how typical crabs are going to get like a crab shell, right? These things use the houses as their shell, and the houses essentially cover up the weak parts of the sea walker's body. The way they get a house is by slowly lumbering over through the water to one of the villages and kind of reaching inside of the house and putting it on top of its own head. They reside only in the deeper parts of the sublevel, and they're really not dangerous other than the fact that they might steal your house right from under you with you in it. Sea walkers also reproduce asexually, which means they don't really require mating, and each individual can lay eggs that would subsequently hatch into new ones. Right after these eggs hatch, the sea walkers are fully self-sufficient and they can just walk around the ocean by themselves. For communities that live here, there are actually several, and this is because, as I've said throughout the entire video, this is a safe level. It's very easy to get to, it's very safe, there's no real environmental factors other than maybe your house getting taken by a giant crab, and you only have to get through 7 different backrooms levels, the first 7, to get here. Instances of the first ever communities that have been here date back to the 1700s, and an outpost known as the Kellogg Institute takes up a stilt village in the middle. They created a hospital there, and they actually have several people that work full-time to divvy out resources and that kind of thing. There's also another group of people called the Deep Fallow Corsairs, and these are essentially pirates that live on boats out in the water, and they steal stuff, which is kind of lame, right? Like, who's out here stealing stuff in the backrooms, bro? But if you want to enter this level and finally go to a relaxing sub-level, the only way you can do so is by getting to level 7, getting inside a boat, and then driving into a continuous direction until you appear here, just like the beginning story did. If you want to exit the level to get back to land, you can do so by jumping down into a deep eye hole, and you'll enter level 8, which is the cave level, and it's not necessarily a great place to be. But this level is one of those like dream core liminal space places. It's simple, it's effective, there's no scary monsters, it's just a chill, endless ocean of stilt houses where you could just vibe forever. Level 280 of the Backrooms has been given a Class 0 difficulty. It's nice to see that after so long. But it's been given Class 0 for having an easy exit, no environmental risks, and no hostile entities. The level itself is extremely cozy, and it has elements of Frutiger Arrow in its aesthetics, which is a very nostalgic aesthetic and design and architecture and media from the early 2000s. I'll unpack all that later. But first, let me explain the layout of the entire place. 280 is known in the Backrooms as Blue Serenity, and it is a huge expanding area that looks to be a marine observatory or aquarium or museum type place. The level has rooms and hallways and corridors and lobby areas that shoot off into different directions, and you can explore all of them at your own pace. But the majority of the design inside the level has this watery calmness to it, this aquarium aesthetic. The blue lights in the ceiling give this soft, luminous glow. The fish swimming around in the tanks are very relaxing, and there's literally just nothing that's dangerous here. All of the aquariums that are inside the level, in the walls or in the ceiling or whatever, have different fish species that live inside of them. Some of these species are from real life, like the typical ones you'd see, flounders and whatnot and all that, but others are unique, unknown fish that we don't even know exist. So there's a kind of just random new species here. That's another cool thing about this level. The decorations and the structure of this level is pretty simple. It's got the elements of Frutiger Arrow architecture with the very rounded edges on furniture and very cool, soft colors, and it really just seems so relaxing to be here. I cannot get over that enough. I mean, the level is known far and wide amongst wanderers in the Backrooms for how relaxing it is. The lighting, the different seats, the couches, and the benches that you might find, all of that paired with the calm bubbling of the water tanks, it's just very nostalgic and safe feeling. There's no secret trap like some levels do, where they fake being safe and then are dangerous. There's no entity scare here. It's just genuine safety. The temperature inside this aquarium's hallways are completely comfortable as well. They're not hot, they're not cold, it's just right. Like the Goldilocks bears, this is the right perfect temperature. But that was the basic overall design of the level. Just an aquarium complex that's very vibey and very relaxing, with normal temperatures, soft carpets, and a cool aesthetic. But now I want to talk about the actual layout of the expanse. The level seems to repeat in how it's shaped and decorated, just with very slight variations in each repetition. So you could be in a large aquarium room, walk down a hallway, and go to another large aquarium room, and that one will be slightly different. There are other smaller rooms and hallways that branch off from the main corridor as well, and you can enter these rooms, relax in these rooms, even sleep in these rooms. I'll talk more about that later though. But these are more intimate and more alone. So if you want to be, just by yourself with these walls around you, go to these smaller rooms. They typically take the appearance of a office building or a break room or a snack room. The only bad or confusing part of this level is that if you walk around for a really long time and you kind of follow the hallways and twists and turns and stuff, you might actually get lost from the path that you meant to follow, but it doesn't really matter because this level's safe anywhere you go, so it's not like you're gonna turn into a wretch or anything. On that same note, this level actually offers a unique kind of help that most levels don't. In fact, most levels do the opposite of help you. This one helps you. Since the entire area seems to be like this aquarium museum from real life, there just so happens to be maps on the layout of the museum inside the level. These maps can tell you where you're at, and they can help you navigate how to get around. Walking even deeper into the aquarium, you might find sections that have consumable foods and liquids. Small cafes and snack places and that sort of thing with vending machines exist, just like you'd find in a real aquarium, although these are not staffed by people. They don't have any employees working there or anything. Instead, the produce just kind of puts itself there. It appears randomly. Usually the liquids here are only almond water, but there can be actual foods from real life. There's also randomly segmented first aid closets that you can use if for some reason you need it. Another unique property possessed by 280 is that it is different than any other area in how you enter it. Most levels you can kind of get to by walking through a door or no clipping or whatever, but for this level, any wanderer who enters has to do so through sleep, and they have to wake up from that extremely deep sleep to be here. If you do that, you'll wake up lying on one of those curved benches or couches, and you'll you'll just look around and see this aquarium with the bubbling lights and the soft music playing in the background. You'll feel like you just had the best sleep of your life. You'll feel energized and relaxed at the same time. It'll be perfect. And once you get up, you can kind of walk around and explore the level, and it's just a nice break from the horror of the backrooms. It's also essentially confirmed that 2 wanderers cannot meet on this level, so you can't go here with your friend or anything. No matter how hard you try, it's just one person at a time, which kind of sucks, but whatever. Who needs people, anyway? The feeling that I just described that you get when you wake up from the sleep at the start of the level has been called the wave of peace effect. And this is just an utter calmness that most people in the backrooms don't get. Because in the backrooms, you're always tense. You're always not relaxed. You're always on edge, you know, looking how to escape this horrible situation you're in, trying to get out of the crippling loneliness. But here, all your muscles relax. You will not be on edge anymore, and the anxiety and worry just drifts away, and all the sadness and anger you have just dissipates. The atmosphere of the level, plus that peace effect, gives this secure and comfortable feeling to anybody that comes here, and this is one of the only levels that does that, minus maybe the level 11 effect. It's liminal, it's empty, it's lonely, but in the best way possible. I mean, you're just walking around this aquarium. That sounds amazing. I love aquariums, by the way. Only sucky part of this level is that you cannot stay here for long. Less than a day, in fact. And that's because after about 8 hours of walking around the level, tiredness will begin to set in. That calm atmosphere, the noises, the solitude, the nostalgia, it'll make your eyes droopy and heavy, and you'll begin to fall into exhaustion. Once you fall asleep and you wake up, you will no longer be here on level 280. You'll instead be on another watery level somewhere, which does really suck because it would be awesome to have like an extended stay here so you could continue to explore, but, you know, who cares? It kicks you out when you're sleeping. That's what it does. This level is like some sort of intermission between the dangers of the backrooms. It's a safe haven. It's like an oasis in the desert, kinda. It offers an entire 8 hours, an entire day of relaxation and peace without having to worry about anything. Only for that single day. And because of that, you have to make the most of it. You can try to stay awake and avoid sleeping as long as you can, but it typically doesn't work and you'll succumb to sleep anyways. This entire expanse of level 280 is kind of what I imagine the inside of a lava lamp would look like a blue lava lamp. It's so mesmerizing, it's liminal, it's relaxing, just the perfect liminal space to explore. And if you do want to enter and explore this level, you can do so by falling into a deep sleep on any level in the backrooms, and by doing this, you will get a small chance of entering here. And of course, to exit, you just have to sleep again. Now, I love this level for all the reasons I've said so far, so I'm not going to keep repeating myself. I know I do that sometimes, but genuinely, this is one of my top 5 levels of the last few months, if not the last years, and I know it's definitely one of the safest levels that I've covered in a long time. So let me know if you want more safe levels. Let me know if you'd stay here on this level to explore it. It's literally a Frutiger Arrow design paradise. I love that aesthetic, and this level is the embodiment of it, you know? Leave a like if you enjoyed the level and my explanation of it. I really appreciate it.